A cry in the ruins. Psalm 74 is not gentle. It's not pretty. It's not quiet praise. It's a cry from the Ashiza Ra, lament from the people of God who feel abandoned, shattered, and betrayed. Have you ever felt like God was silent while everything around you was falling apart? That's where this psalm begins. O God, why have you cast us off forever? Why does your anger smoke against the sheep of your pasture? Today, we walk through Psalm 74 verse by verse, a national lament that still echoes in our own personal tragedies. Background: who wrote Psalm 74 and why? This psalm is attributed to Asaph, or more accurately, to his descendants or disciples. Asaph was a Levitical worship leader appointed by King David, known for writing honest and emotionally intense psalms. Psalm 74 likely refers to the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem. Possibly during the Babylonian invasion in 586 BC, the temple, the place where God's presence dwelled, was set on fire. The holy place was violated. Israel's national identity, pride, and spiritual center were torn apart. This was more than just a military defeat. It was a spiritual earthquake. And in the middle of it, Asaph doesn't pretend to be strong. He falls to his knees and weeps on behalf of the people. Why have you rejected us? The psalm opens with a deep accusation. Why have you rejected us forever? Asaph reminds God that they are his sheep, his covenant people. He asks God to remember your congregation, which you purchased of old. This is not rebellion, it's covenant-based pleading. The psalmist is saying, we're still yours, Lord. Even in ruins, we belong to you. He invites God to lift up his feet and come see the destruction. It's not that God doesn't know, it's that Asaph wants to awaken divine action. It's the same heart Moses had when he begged God to remember his promises after the golden calf incident. The desecration of the temple. Here, the psalmist vividly describes the enemy's actions. They roared in the midst of the sanctuary. They set up their battle standards. They smashed the carved paneling with axes and hammers. They burned the temple to the ground. The language is poetic, but horrific. It's sacred desecration. This wasn't just war, it was spiritual humiliation. Verse 8 is haunting. They said in their hearts, let us destroy them altogether. And for a moment, it felt like they succeeded. We see no signs. Verses 9 to 11. Asaph confesses the worst part. God seems silent. We do not see our signs. There is no longer any prophet, and none of us knows how long this will be. This is the deepest ache. Not just destruction, but divine silence. He asks, why do you hold back your hand? Why aren't you acting like you used to? Have you ever felt that way? You remember when God moved in power? But now, silence. That's where this psalm takes us, not away from faith, but deeper into honesty. Recalling God's power, verses 1 to 17. In a beautiful turn, Asaph shifts gears. He stops looking at the ruins and looks back at God's resume. He says, yet God is my king of old, working salvation in the midst of the earth. He remembers how God split the sea, broke Leviathan's heads, opened up rivers, and set the boundaries of creation. This section is not accidental, it's strategic spiritual remembering. In the darkest times, Asaph reaches into memory to find light. He reminds himself and his people, God has done mighty things before. He can do them again. The final plea, verses 1-8-2-3. In the final verses, Asaph returns to prayer. But now, he is both bold and trusting. He pleads with God to remember his covenant, not let the oppressed return ashamed, defend his cause in the face of foolish enemies. He asks God to rise up not for Israel's glory, but for his own name. Arise, O God, plead your own cause. This is a powerful intercession. When everything seems broken, the psalmist doesn't just ask for comfort, he asks for divine justice. Why Psalm 74 still matters today? Psalm 74 isn't just history, it's personal. We may not face temple destruction, but we face spiritual attacks, personal collapse, and moments where God seems far away. In these moments, Psalm 74 teaches us to cry out honestly. Remember God's past faithfulness. Stand on covenant promises. Trust that God is still king. Even when God seems silent, he is not absent. Even when everything looks lost, his word remains. Prophetic layers and messianic hope. Psalm 74 may also have prophetic dimensions. The destruction of the temple foreshadows the judgment of sin. But through Jesus, the true temple, God would raise up a new way to dwell with his people. Jesus himself lamented over Jerusalem. He too cried out in anguish, my God, why have you forsaken me? He entered our desolation to bring redemption. In Christ, we are not left in lament, we are led to resurrection. When the sanctuary burns, sing anyway. Psalm 74 doesn't end with resolution. There's no neat but that's its power. It's not a psalm of answers, it's a psalm of faith in the silence. So if you're in a place where it feels like the sanctuary is burning, the signs are gone, and God seems quiet, Psalm 74 is for you. It gives you permission to grieve, space to question, and hope to hold on. Let the cry of Asaph become your own, but let it lead you not to despair, but to a deeper dependence on the God who still remembers his people. If this teaching encouraged you, please like, comment, and subscribe.